mean, it's a great movie. It seems to me like it's almost, I mean, I didn't make it, so I'm not bragging. It seems like a pretty flawless movie. I don't know. I don't think there's a scene I would cut. There was a darker cut.
Really?
Yeah, there was. I don't know if anyone's talked about that, but I saw it, and it was like maybe too horrifying. I don't know. You guys would probably like it, but back then it was like, oh, we need to tone this down a little bit. I just remembered that. I totally forgot.
I know there was one.
I think I have a VHS like in a box in my garage somewhere, you know?
So was it an official release or was it just like...
No, it wasn't released. It was like a early cut, and I think my agent got a hold of it. So, yeah, I should find that, huh? I'll bring it next time.
Bring some back.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, she absolutely did. That dog's name was Darla. I just did a movie with a dog like a couple years ago, and they all like, she's like a legend. Not to the dogs, I mean, I didn't ask the dogs, but you know, to the trainers, they definitely know all about her. And the trainer was almost scarier than Ted was, because you know, when I was actually in there looking up at Ted, the trainer was like next to him, going like, "Don't you squeeze that dog too hard," you know, because it's kind of upsetting to work with a dog, because I wondered if she knew what was happening. You know, she was probably traumatized.
She didn't realize you were just reading lines.
Exactly.
You know?
I know. I don't know. Ugh.
Dogs thinking this ain't the strangest thing I've ever seen.
No, I even auditioned, like I had the part before Ted, and Jonathan asked me to come in and read with the 3 finalists, like to play Gum. And weirdly, there was a guy who pretty much had the part before the last audition, and he kind of gave up on himself. I don't know, I kind of watched him just go like, yeah, but Ted there was no beating Ted. When he came in, it was just like, oh my God. And I even asked him, because I was young then, and I said, you know, what did you do? How did you prepare for that audition? Because you were like incredible. And he literally said, I didn't know what I was gonna do, so I just drank a bunch of coffee. And so whenever I've been in doubt, like for an audition, I just think, all right, I'll just drink a bunch of coffee and see what happens, you know?
I have a horrible caffeine habit, and I have not started doing the Buffalo Bill dance yet, but I will keep that in mind. To piggyback off of how Ted prepared, how did you prepare for the role? I mean, the terror and everything else you had to face.
Yeah, you know, because back then you really had to be thin as an actress, you know? And so I had already had a very overweight teenage time, and had lost all the weight, and then got this part and had to gain 25, it was in the contract, you have to gain 25 pounds, and I was supposed to be naked. And I was just a single girl, you know, like, oh my God. So there was the weight gain, and then there was, you know, trying to get my head around what it would be like, you know? And I actually went and, you know, locked myself in my parents' basement. They had this like storage room, and I kind of closed the door, and I thought, I don't think he leaves the light on for me, you know? Like, I think he's not concerned for how I feel. So I just kind of sat in there for a while and wondered what it would be like, and I don't think it would be good. Yeah. So, but I think I was mostly upset before we got to filming. And then when we got there, all that screaming, it's like primal therapy. It's very relaxing, you know? So I'd be really chill at lunch, and everybody else would be really tense and like disturbed, you know? Yeah. I mean, it was really strange. For some reason, I knew Michelle Pfeiffer, like personally, and Jonathan Demme had been a publicist prior to being a director. This is very strange, but true. And my mom was a publicist. And so he like heard about me through Michelle and my mom, and I'm also my agent, my first agent, who's still a good friend of mine. it was his favorite book. So he literally cried when I got the part. He was so excited. But I never auditioned. I just went in and talked to Jonathan, and he was kind of like, why would you want to do this, you know? Because he told me what I was going to have, that I was just going to have to go all the way with it. And I was a young, serious actress. So I was like, yeah, I didn't think I could do it. So that's kind of why I wanted to do it. Oh my God, I loved Bates Motel. And it was like, it's the story of my life. By the time I got there, it was over. It's like, come on, you guys. Yeah, it was so great. I just thought the writing was amazing. The actors were amazing. Just last night, by the way, I was working with Nestor. He was directing me in an episode of Law and Order. So he's directing a lot now. So yeah, I loved it. I loved Bates. And I loved it like as an audience, you know, before I was on it. I was like, yes. Yeah, really good show.
I was just going to ask you about Law and Order. I didn't realize you were returning to it.
Oh yeah.
It looked like you had
just
done
last night.
2 or 3 of the different Law and Order series.
I think so. This was like the mothership, you know, like Sam Waterston is there, you guys. He's like still there. It's insane to me. And I did the SVU one, right? And then I did something else. What else did I do? One, I was a pimp. I remember I was a pimp in the SVU one, right? Like a female pimp, whatever that is. Yeah. A madam, thank you. I was a madam. Oh my God, he was the best. I constantly am saying nowadays that I wish, like if I ran a studio, I would hire all the best people and let them do what they do and take all the credit. And nowadays, everybody wants to have a say in everything, you know? And with Jonathan, it was like, that's what they did. They hired the best guy. He hired the best people, and then we all wanted to make him proud, you know? It was like almost like a party atmosphere, but we all wanted to genuinely do our best. And he pushed me a lot, you know? One time he said, I was a punk rocker, you know, as a teen. And one time he said it like totally dead straight to me. He's sitting in the well with me and he's like, have you ever been in jail? You know, like as if I'm gonna say yes, you know? Then he tried a different tact, you know? Yeah, no, he was the best, just so great. He just was one of those guys directors who you just wanted to do your best for, you know? And he really thought that everyone genuinely on the entire crew was equal, like from the caterer to Jody, you know? So that's pretty rare. Didn't have a lot of interaction with her. I remember there was so much I didn't know, you know, because I was just starting out. And I remember I didn't really understand what overlapping was. And that's like a sound thing, so that if the camera's on you and I'm screaming at you, I would be quiet. You know, I would try, so they could get clean sound, you know, you don't want to overlap. So Jody was like trying to point that out to me, you know, like, it's on Ted now, shut up, you know? And, you know, and then same with looping, with going in and doing ADR. You know, I kind of thought, oh, I have to like live through this whole thing again. And she was like, you could probably just act it, you know? Yeah, no, she's great though. I see her around, like socially, which is weird, you know? I saw her at like kids' birthday parties in LA. I'm like, wow, okay. Yeah, but she's great. And I think she's probably a really great director to work with. Super smart.